Short answer is no. Certainly, Virginia, by constitutional amendment, has a new redistricting effort that was put in place and first utilized after in the 2021 redistricting. Certainly, I've been watching with interest what other states are doing, but I have no plans to redistrict Virginia.
Do you worry that states, districts all over the country now will just go tit for tat trying to do this, not every 10 years, but whenever they feel the need?
I certainly think that that is a fair concern, which is why absolutely when Democrats take a majority in the House of Representatives, my hope and expectation will be that there will be serious conversations about redistricting reforms and the process by which all 50 states will take on redistricting efforts. But I think essential to the conversation, as I mentioned, in Virginia, was our commitment to our bipartisan commission. And so I think it's important that every step along the way, we weren't saying, okay, this is the new normal of this kind of tit for tat. We were saying at this moment, we are taking a responsive and temporary step. And we in the Commonwealth of Virginia are committed to getting back to that bipartisan commission. So I think that that was an essential part of the discussion here.
You got to stay in prayer. You got to travel with your popcorn. OK.
A judge in Tazewell County has ruled that the results of last night's redistricting referendum can't be certified.
Come through, God, come through.
That means that for now, Virginia's new congressional map cannot go into effect.
Yes, talk to me, guys. Talk to me now.
The report says Democrats did not follow the Constitution.
They don't even believe in the Constitution, okay? No surprise there.
Or the law in several instances during the redistricting process.
Ken Cuccinelli, he's a Republican. Ken, good to see you. So first, I guess let's get to the breaking news. This judge in Southern Virginia ordering results to not be certified. The judge called the ballot language flagrantly misleading. What's your reaction?
Right. Well, it certainly was flagrantly misleading, but my basic reaction is that I appreciate lower court wins, but the Virginia Supreme Court is going to decide this. And to Terry's point about, well, hey, if they didn't decide it before, there's a reason the Supreme Court held off until after the vote. Over 100 years of Virginia legal precedent says that the vote in a referendum is part of the legislative process. It's analogous to a governor signing a bill. You don't sue on a bill that hasn't passed yet. So what they've done here in terms of timing is very much in keeping with the Virginia legal history. What isn't in keeping with Virginia legal history is how this General Assembly has so blatantly ignored the requirements of the Constitution to amend the Constitution. So I think it's highly likely that this will be overturned probably in May.
So CNN's Manu Raju pressed Speaker Johnson today about some of the criticism from Republicans that the Republican Party, did not spend enough money to fight the Democratic measure. Take a listen.
You think?
Republicans have spent more money. Trump didn't barely touch his super PAC money. Should you guys have spent more money?
True. We don't know the final result, but the president's team spent a lot. We put in tens of millions of dollars on that ballot initiative.
I mean, given the fact that the margin was much more narrow than a lot of Democrats anticipated, what do you think? Did Republicans miss a chance here?
Because they cheated.
Well, there's no question that the 3 or 4 to 1 spending difference was the margin. You know, when all the votes are counted, this will be about a 2 or 3 point win for the yes side. That is, it's hard to say that money didn't make that difference, but now they have to win 4 constitutional challenges, state constitutional to clarify challenges, and they have to win all 4 of them to hold on to this referendum. I just don't think they can do it. There's some very basic processes in the Constitution for amending the Constitution that they ignored. And now they're going to say, just like Terry did, well, 3 million people voted and you can't ignore the will of the people. Well, they were ignoring the will of the people and how they brought this forward.
Our message to Florida Republicans is F around and find out. They started this war and we're going to finish it.
Please be my guest. I will pay for you to come down to Florida and campaign. I'll put you up in the Florida governor's mansion. There's nothing that could be better for Republicans in Florida than to see Hakeem Jeffries, everywhere around this state.
Come on, Cliff. Come on, Cliff. Come on, my grandma Club.
What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that judge and his ruling, do you think it will be upheld in the Virginia Supreme Court?
I think depending upon where the courts are located and who the judges are on the courts, and I don't know that information, who they were appointed by, or that makes a difference. I think that they will certainly try. I think Cuccinelli said that they have 4 challenges to overcome. And even if they're able to get over the hurdle of 1 or 2, it does become more and more difficult to say that you can clear all 4 of those charges. But I think we need to be more specific and see what the plain letter of them are. What is the actual violation? I'm not someone who's going to put a lot of money on spending. I think that is old time political thinking. Those people weren't spending their money necessarily all of that on the ballot. Yes, I'm sure they did advertisement on social media. I'm sure they did advertisement on television and radio. They did all of the usual things. And, maybe you need a couple $1 million for that. But where I think the difference is made and where I think the Republicans continually miss the boat is on these ballots. These ballots are the issue. It's the actual votes that count. Who is watching these ballot boxes? Who is watching whether or not these ballots are signature verified? Who is watching whether or not the ballots are in the name of actual citizens or actual residents of the county, of the counties in which these ballots allegedly come from? Who is making sure that these are not people who moved in from out of state, who've lived there maybe only a month or 2, registered to vote, and then are going back home? Who is doing all of this stuff? It is the ballots. You don't need money to watch the ballots. What you need is an army of people who care about an election. And that's what the Democrats have.
Yeah.
Democrats have people in Toyotas and station wagons with trunks full of ballots.
In minivans.
Driving around at night looking for a place where they can drop 100 ballots here, 50 ballots down there, so many ballots down there. Who is watching this stuff and who is verifying these ballots? You may have actually won the referendum, but you would know it because you have no idea about the ballots that came in.
Right.
It is not money. That is old school thinking. You need all of this money to win. No, you don't. Look at Trump's 2016 campaign. He was outspent 3-1 and he ran. What did he have? He had a plane and he had people. If the will of the people is behind you, and they would be because we want to be, if you stood up with any courage and articulated any urgency about securing elections, the people would support it. But throw your head back in the sand, run and hide. And again, you don't know. You may have actually won the referendum, but you can't tell because you don't know a thing about those ballots that went in those boxes.
This is True Social from the president, Donald J. Trump. He says a rigged election took place last night in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. All day long, Republicans were winning. The spirit was unbelievable until the very end, when, of course, there was a massive mail-in ballot drop. Where I have heard that, where have I heard that before? And the Democrats eked out another crooked victory. 6-5 goes to 10-1, and yet the presidential election in November was very close to a 50-50 split. You guys want to read the rest of that? Obviously, you can go to True Social or you can go on to X. He's absolutely right. I was watching this, and the no's were up like 10%. And then like at the very last minute, it was like, I woke up the next day, I was like, yo, what happened? It almost kind of felt like 2020.
The guy in the fake tapper interview, the fake tapper guy, he made it clear that the Constitution was being violated. And that's a fact. The violate, and Sister Celeste, you're absolutely right. It's not about money. It's about their practice of stealing elections. And there have been books written about what happened in the 2020 election, and they gave details about how the Democrats stole that election. So the public didn't get it because the media won't talk about it. But the fact of the matter is that they are very good at stealing elections. And this one is very clear. So we got to start holding these people accountable and challenging them publicly on this kind of stuff. Because you see, in the media interview, all he wanted to talk about was the money. Who spent enough money? But what they should have been talking about is how did this happen at last minute? How could they be losing so badly and then at the last minute all of a sudden win? Why isn't that being brought out in these interviews?
No, you're absolutely right. And the thing is that when you see that Democrats outspent the Republican Party, 3-1, 4-1, and yet they only won by, maybe they're saying, 2%, maybe 2.5%, maybe. Yeah, it's a little weird. So I'm with Celeste. I don't think it's a money thing. I definitely don't think it's a money thing.
I remember in 2020, I was living in Atlanta, Midtown Atlanta, when Biden won. And this is when I started to, because I used to be a liberal, used to consider myself a Democrat. I started to wake up because for that election, individuals on the right were saying that there was fraud, right? And I'll tell you the truth, there was some stuff that came out, Michigan being one of them, where there were ballots that went missing and it was ignored. There were machines that were fraudulent and it was ignored. And so from that point in time, I couldn't help but ask myself the question, why are we just ignoring this information? In my perspective, if one thing's wrong with the machine, you redo the whole vote for the entire state. It's that important. But I'm going to tell you all the truth. They don't care. I'm going to tell you the Democrats in Virginia, they do not care. When Biden won, even with all that information, the last second votes that came in, they were throwing stuff off the balcony in Atlanta. They were celebrating. I knew he won before I saw it on the news because I heard it outside all throughout the streets. To the victor goes the ability to write history. And so for the Democrats in Virginia right now, they don't care that it's fraudulent. They don't care that it stinks to high heaven. They won. And that's it. The most you're ever going to get is, well, Trump did this, or well, Republicans did this. There is no actual accountability. And so we have to stop hoping that suddenly out of nowhere, half of America is going to potentially set down that W that they feel they just got in the sake of righteousness and the sake of objective truth. They don't believe in it anyway. The question is, what do we do moving forward? I think Virginia is setting a pretty bad precedent. I know Texas did this as well, so I'm not surprised that they did it here. No one should be surprised that a politician lied while they're running for office. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody at this point. I think the Supreme Court will be interesting because their court is about split. It's considered slightly conservative leaning, but we have to see. That's been proven wrong before when it comes to court cases. I'm curious about the precedent that Virginia is setting. I know they're not the first ones to do it. We've been redrawing districts for over 100 years now. But to do it so blatantly, so fraudulently, and to lie saying you're not going to do it in the first place. Y'all remember the presidential debate? Are you going to stack the Supreme Court? We couldn't get a straight answer. Fine. If they want to play the game this way, do not be surprised. What did Abigail say? I'm looking forward to turning all of that, as she blinked 500 times, turning all the House seats Democrat. I'm looking forward to all 50 states doing the same. She didn't mean to say that. What she meant to say was, I'm hoping all 50 states do this in a way that benefits my political party. Because if all 50 states do this, and all of a sudden there's more Republican and conservative districts, and I know she wants the House to run this so they have control, well, then I'm pretty sure her messaging is going to change. This is not about freedom. This is not about democracy. It's not about respecting you as an American people and your vote and actually being in charge of the country. This is about power, pure and simple, and it always has been.
No, you're absolutely right, AT. It's all about power. And I think we're in a position now where you're being forced to make a decision on what your beliefs are, who you stand with, what side you're on. But I also think we are also being pushed to make a decision on what state you live in.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think we're being forced. We're getting closer and closer to a position to where you're going to have to choose a state that more aligns with your beliefs. I mean, if you look at the way things are going right now, there are going to be some states that they're going to start outlawing churches. We already seen them try to do this, during the shutdowns. We're going to start to see it. And you're going to see there are going to be certain places in the country that if you are a Christian, and especially if you are a Christian that is, focused and dedicated and 100% in lockstep with the word of God, the Holy Scriptures, you're not going to be able to practice in their state because they're going to outlaw if you don't affirm certain things. We're getting closer and closer to forcing people based off of your belief system to live in certain states that align with your beliefs.
AT, Georgia was one of the biggest thefts in the whole 2020 election. Did nobody?
Yes, it was.
And nobody, they not only stole, they created a whole theatrical water main shutdown
Yes, they did.
event around it.
Yeah,
Yes,
they did. Well, I mean, Fulton County, one of the most corrupt counties, not just in the state of Georgia, but probably in the country. Well, at least they said it. They had more people registered to vote in Fulton County than there are actual people,
yeah,
to include the children that can't vote.
Yep.
That's what came out in the Georgia election board.
Yes.
But I want to play this clip.
I mean, I understand this was that started after Texas decided to kind of do the same thing. I mean, I get the logic of to do that things, but overall we all lose at this point. I mean, the wrong thing doesn't make it the right thing, but that's where we are. And if we continue to just attack the other side, whether it's a red state or whether it's a blue state, our democracy is degraded. And then I really, it's just not. It should have never come to that, honestly. You know, like the people should pick the politicians. The politicians should never pick their politicians. And so for me, it's a lose. I mean, there was an example in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania before 2018, they did that gerrymandering, and they had a severely skewed. It was 13 Republicans and 5 Democrats there. And then the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania said, we demand fair map. Yeah, and Pennsylvania went 9-9. Yeah. And that's the true purple state that Pennsylvania is. And so that's democracy.
How do we solve this issue?
You know, honestly, I don't think there's a solve until people stop treating politics like it's a sporting match. I really feel like that, because it's not about the people, it's not about the communities, it's not about it's not about any of those things. It's about, I want my team to win. This is literally what you watch constantly. You watch that with Abigail, saying she wasn't going to redistrict, and now she is going to redistrict because now she wants her people to have more players on the field versus the other teams, and it's not fair, and they want to win. And until people stop treating it like that and treat it like what it is, we vote these people in office so that they can represent who we are. As we said when we look at the map, 10 Democrats and 1 Republican does not represent Virginia. They're rural people. They're people. Everybody in Virginia is not a Democrat, and they even said it. Tim Kaine came out and said, well, everybody here is not Democrat. We know that, and you had a fair map. According to them, they had a fair map that they had an independent person come out. I think Scott Jennings said it. They had an independent person come out, draw exactly what they needed to make sure that it was fair, and then they let the Looney Tunes Wicked Witch of the West Scamberger into office, and then now it's not good enough. Now we got to switch it around again because this is a problem. It's not fair, because it's not about the people that she's representing. It's not the people that she's governing. It's about the federal level, because we want someone, because all of this is about Trump. It's all about Trump. It's always about Trump. It's always been about Trump. So for them, it's like, who cares about representing y'all? We don't care. We don't care if the Democrats that come into office have never been out into rural Virginia, don't know about farming, don't know about any of these things. We want them to represent you because we want to win against Trump. This is all we want. We want to beat Trump. It's ridiculous. It feels like we're dealing with 5-year-olds playing tug of war right now. That's literally what it feels like we're dealing with. I can tell y'all, from somebody who, I live in Fulton County, I can tell y'all, working on the left, the thing is, you will have people going in there to, let's say, watch the ballots, right? Watch, make sure everything is going correct. And they're supposed to have Democrats, Republicans, and independents. But understand, the independents are usually leaning Democrats. So you'll have like this amount of Republicans and a whole bunch of Democrats, because the Democrats are leaning, the independents are leaning Democrat anyway. So you have that crazy combination. And the thing is, you will see, there will be an onslaught of Democrats that are rushing to be involved in the ballot count. You will have a bunch of Democrats, liberals, who are ready to knock on doors and tell people why you're supposed to vote this way, why you have to say yes to this or no to. You'll have a whole bunch of them. But the list for Republicans to do that is so minute. Until we start treating this like a government that is supposed to be representing the people, like our Constitution says, it's never going to be fair, because we have people who think this is a sporting match and this is unacceptable. And Republicans really, conservatives really have to get up. Y'all cannot just say we're just going to sit back and watch. They're not playing, and they will continue to do this, even because we would keep allowing them. And don't sit here and wait for that Save America Act, because we have rhinos that's trying to block it.
That's right. Yeah.
We have rhinos trying to block it. So that's why you have to get involved with the process as well.
I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. What are your thoughts about any of this? Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. Consider joining the ARP family, or you can buy your brother a coffee. That link's in the description box below. And as always, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Peace.
It is God who arms me with strength. Yeah, I'm battle ready. He trains my hands for battle. My heart stays steady. But thanks be to God, He gives us the victory. Through my Lord Jesus Christ, fear can't live in me. I was down to the dirt, red clay on my shoes, old pain in my shirt, oh so bruised. Then the Lord hit my chest, kicked death from my breath, put power in my step.